Presenting the top 10 presidents in U.S. history. Number 10, Zachary Taylor. Elected in 1849, Old Rough and Ready had one of the most dedicated and distinguished military records to serve as president. He opposed tariffs, internal improvements, and supported states' rights. A true war hero compared to George Washington and Andrew Jackson themselves, yet so humble. When talk emerged of him running for president, he said, "Such an idea never entered my head," he remarked in a letter, "nor is it likely to enter the head of any sane person." Number 9, James Monroe. The last founding father elected president. Elected in 1817, he fought and was injured in the great fight for liberty in the Revolutionary War. A true constitutionalist, in the panic of 1819, President Monroe, interpreting the economic crisis in the narrow monetary terms then current, limited governmental action to economizing and ensuring fiscal stability. Number 8, James Madison. Elected in 1809, he was hailed as the father of the Constitution and the U.S. Bill of Rights. In opposition to the Federalists, especially the National Bank and the Jay Treaty, he co-authored along with Thomas Jefferson the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions in 1798 to protest the Alien and Sedition Acts. Number 7, Calvin Coolidge. Elected in 1923, he reduced the size of government. He vetoed bills that would allow government to fix prices. Silent Cal was a believer in free markets and a non-interventionist. Number 6, John Adams. Elected in 1797, a founding father who played a leading role in convincing Congress to declare independence and assisted Thomas Jefferson in drafting the Declaration of Independence. A man of peace, he had a major role in the peace treaty with Great Britain. Number 5, Andrew Jackson. Elected in 1829, Old Hickory, hero of the War of 1812, Jackson supported limited government, states' rights, and strongly opposed the National Bank. In 1835, he paid off the entire national debt. Number 4, Martin Van Buren. Elected in 1837, a true non-interventionist and champion of laissez-faire capitalism. His beliefs and non-interventionist policies prevented a terrible Great Depression. He was an advocate for free trade and lower tariffs. All communities are apt to look to government for too much. All former attempts on the part of the government to assume the management of domestic or foreign exchange proved injurious, he said. His greatest legacy of refusing to allow the Panic of 1837 as an excuse to expand the role of government was one of the most remarkable achievements of any president in U.S. history. Number 3, Grover Cleveland. Elected in 1885, one of the most remarkable presidents in U.S. history. A strong believer in limited government, free markets, and sound money. He vetoed the Texas Seed Bill and refused to subsidize the farming industry with taxpayer money. Instead, offered money from his very own pocket to help. This was followed by an outpouring of charity from the American people looking up to their great leader, President Cleveland. The farming industry quickly recovered, proving that charity can be a more direct, less wasteful approach than government intervention. Number 2, George Washington, the first U.S. president. Elected in 1789, one of the bravest and most significant presidents in history. Our founding father did something more important than sign the Declaration of Independence. He enforced it. He read it to his troops to inspire them about the great cause of liberty, individual rights, and freedom. A man who not only believed in the great cause of liberty, but risked his life against staggering odds on the battlefield to fight for it. After victory in 1783, Washington resigned rather than seize power, proving his opposition to be a king, dictatorship, and his commitment to American republicanism. He said, "The preservation of the sacred fire of liberty and the destiny of the Republican model of government are justly considered as deeply, perhaps finally staked, on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people." Number 1, Thomas Jefferson. Elected in 1801, the most remarkable American president in history. Our great founding father, the author of the Declaration of Independence itself, a champion of the Constitution, a champion of free markets, a champion of individual rights, a champion of liberty, a champion of sound money. The Declaration of Independence was one of the most extraordinary achievements in U.S. history. The preamble is considered an enduring statement of human rights that has inspired people from around the world. He wrote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." In his inaugural address, he said, "A wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, which shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. This is the sum of good government, and this is necessary to close the circle of our felicities.